Hello there. It looks like the UK is being gently steered towards a command economy, where the government makes far-reaching economic decisions, all for the greater good. In times of war and strife, the government is forced to step in and settle the make or break decisions to keep the nation state safe. And with talk of a looming emergency budget, people like the former Prime Minister Gordon Brown demanding a permanent cost of living Cobra meeting to be set up, and polls saying that the people want the government to tackle inflation before giving us tax breaks, then I would say the die is cast. You can smell it in the air. And within the next few months, as prices rise inexorably and it becomes more and more expensive to live our lives, more and more people will be calling on the government to do something before they freeze this winter. And the establishment will be more than ecstatic to step forward and impose a command economy on us. A command economy designed to redistribute energy and food about the country to ensure no one goes cold and/or hungry. Or more precisely, redistribute wealth around the country to ensure that even the poorest families get sufficient money to buy all the food and energy they need to stay alive. This Tory government is going to have to prioritise the vulnerable this winter over their normal philosophical bent of protecting banks and big businesses. Now, contrary to what Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak, Keir Starmer or Gordon Brown would tell you, there is no easy answer. Because whatever happens this winter, there will be huge losers. It's just a decision as to who those losers will be. The poorest freezing and starving, or the wealthier coughing up ever more in taxes. In the end, one of those has got to happen. And no one's talking about the festive season yet. There are only 3 paydays between now and Christmas, and most of what the poor and vulnerable get paid will now be soaked away in rising petrol, diesel, gas, electricity and food costs. And with rising interest rates, slapping Yuletide on the credit card will not be a good choice for most. So are the losers going to be the vulnerable elderly as well as the poorer families and their kids, or the well-heeled with money to spare in the bank? Or is everyone assuming that the money printing presses will be taking the strain, forgetting that printing more money is the surest fire way of putting boosters under the inflation rocket? Or maybe they hope that another money tree can be found in Downing Street by just borrowing more money, like we did to save the banks and for more furlough schemes. But that just heaps an ever-growing problem on the shoulders of our children and grandchildren to solve. Right now, the truth is that a massive intervention is needed, a massively expensive intervention, and the real question is, who pays for that intervention? But this intervention will not be a short-term intervention to deal with the carefully constructed inflation dragon. I say carefully constructed because it could have been killed off at the first sniff by raising interest rates and/or rowing back or more harshly on quantitative easing. But it wasn't, and our government just borrowed more and more money. And now we have a huge problem. The aim now, though, will not be to destroy that inflation. The aim will be to destroy the ability of the proletariat to consume more than their allotted ration, while taxing the moderately wealthy into the swelling ranks of the new proletariat. That will be how inflation is tamed. If most people can only afford the basics, then consumption, demand and inflation start falling. A great way to disguise the green agenda. This will be a long-term and ongoing intervention to assist the establishment drive towards net zero. A massive ongoing intervention as part of the grand plan to build back better. and one that I can assure you will only lead to a handful of winners, and those winners will not be at the poorer end of society.